Hey, what's going on, guys? GFXLab, and this is another episode of Minecraft, Mindcraft. And I want to talk to you guys about history. I was watching this video. It was I'm not even gonna tell you who it was because the guy's kind of crazy. But anyway, the video was about what we know as of like ancient history of Romans and stuff like that, and all the things that we take for granted because we think we already know the answers to. And I was looking into all the ancient. I was watching Ancient Aliens too, but everyone knows that show was kind of just I don't know if you guys saw the mermaid thing, but the mermaid thing was just like a mockumentary and of like what it would be like if mermaids actually existed. And I was looking while I was watching this show this guy had, and the guy was like, well, we don't really know if the story that we know of, as especially like in the Bible has like all these stories of like Abraham and all these stories of different types of people becoming a nation and all this stuff that people actually believe in, especially now. Like there's religious people out there dying for some of these beliefs, and it's crazy that they'll never question them. But if they question them, what would they find? Would they find like the stories being actually true? Oh, there's this professor that I saw like with Richard Dawkins. Is a Richard Dawkins interview, and this professor, all he does is he studies like Middle Eastern history, and a lot of the history from the Bible does not pan out to actual events. Actually, the events in the Bible, they pan out to very small tribes, and these very small tribes defined a lot of the huge stories, because this is a story not about, like in the Bible makes it seem like a huge part of like all of the Israelites and all that, and it's like it makes it seem like they like it was a massive thing, but it really wasn't. It really was just a small group of individuals that went through all that oppression and stuff like that. And just to think about like how much stuff like that actually happened with everything else. Like, what if the entire world was just being duped? What if there was people before us? Like, we don't really know how old the earth is or how long it took us to. Well, we know we can do carbon dating, and we can tell like how old the earth, we can estimate how old the earth is, but we don't know for sure. I know carbon dating is fairly accurate though, so it could be, obviously the world itself is billions of years old, and during that time, how many species have grown? Like, how many humans or intelligent life has happened on this planet? Are we like the only? Were humans the only ones? Were there humans before humans? And there's some remnants left behind, like pyramids and stuff that we can't really explain. Like, people still can't explain how they were built, and some people say like, oh yeah, there's the ancient aliens theory or whatever, and some of that sounds silly, but it actually doesn't sound too silly. It's actually fairly I think it has a fairly good debate going for itself on like the fact that we don't know what actually built those pyramids, or what actually is happening. And I was also like thinking about people's interpretation of certain things. So back in the day, aliens and stuff like that, well, technology wasn't here yet, and we didn't know what to call things, so the only thing we knew, the only thing the modern humans at that time, not modern humans now, but humans at that time, their only language was included with, like, it only went to nature, right? So they could only reference things on a nature point of view, and they also didn't have the tools to draw things perfectly. So that's where a lot of the that's where a lot of things like the animal ideas and the gods and stuff like that came from, was because they didn't know how to explain it otherwise. There was no words in their language that described what was happening. They couldn't say, like, oh, there's a jet propulsion pack, like, on this, on this the spaceship or whatever. They didn't even know what space was. They didn't know what anything was. So they had to come up with ideas. They had to come up with ways of describing things that we would think is primitive now, but in their time, it was the only way they could describe stuff. And they weren't dumb. Like, they weren't like cavemen at all. They were modern humans, just like we were. They just didn't have, I mean, if you look at a third world country now, they're not dumb people. They just don't have the opportunity. They just don't know what a tablet is. They don't know how to describe stuff. Well, maybe now it's different, but when I was growing up, people in third world countries barely even knew what a computer was. So they're not dumb. They can obviously learn. If you brought, like, a ancient human, well, not an ancient human, but a human that was, like, probably during some of those times, they would probably be able to flourish in our society. They would, I doubt they would have a problem. I mean, the evolution has been around forever. So how long or how many times has a human civilization, how many times have humans evolved into our state now? Like, how many humans have come off of Earth as, like, civilized countries, or civilized people, civilized beings? We're not that we're civilized at all. We're not civilized in the least bit. But just think about it. Like, how many times have we evolved, and how many times has there been or a type of people or a type of creature that has gotten as evolved as we are? So when we think about that, it changes a lot of things, because then you start to think, like, why were these pyramids made? And then, obviously there's a way to describe that. If you take into account that we don't know how many times there has been a civilization like humans around, and if there was, then where are their remains? Why don't we have any? Probably because they rotted away, or maybe because there's just a circumstance that just wiped everyone out. There's all kinds of things that could have happened to humans that were, to humans that I mean, imagine if we nuked each other. Imagine if like humans all eventually we could have, like, if we think now, humans now are probably going to destroy ourselves for sure. We're going to get into another world war, and then we're going to destroy ourselves. And then maybe, like, who knows, 1,000,000 years from now, when, well, we've wiped out the entire universe, or we've wiped out the entire Earth of its population because of a huge nuclear war. Well, in the future, there has to be, there's going to be another evolution of some sort of species. It might be apes and monkeys like it was now. Well, not apes, but monkeys and chimps like it was now. Or it could be reptiles. It could be anything that could evolve into what we are now. It doesn't have to be us. But, you think about, like, in the universe, there's probably who knows how many things out there like us. Oh, and I see where he's talking about the symmetry, because I screwed this up. Hold on. No, this has one piece. This is one piece. There's two pieces there. Okay, so this goes flush. Okay, I see what he's talking about. So we don't know how many things have evolved to the state of evolution that we are now. So I think, like, just thinking about things that I used to think stuff like, some parts of the Bible were true. I just never questioned them. Actually, I didn't know that they were not true. I just didn't go out and actually actively go out and search to see if everything was right. I don't know. I still don't know. I still don't know what to think. I still don't. Part of me just wants to worry about the now, this moment now, instead of worrying about, what happened a long time ago, unless it was my job. So I don't know. It's crazy, because the thought that some people will never understand, some people will never question, and they'll just, like, choose to live in that whole, ignorance of life, and they just, I have a friend that has, everyone that's religious has this smile, like, I can't explain it. It's like this smile of I can't be wrong sort of smile. I don't know if you guys know what I'm saying. I mean, if you guys get what I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. They have this, like, this smile, like, I've got you kind of smile. And I don't know if it's that, or if it's I'm struggling to stay with my beliefs type smile. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. I wish I could I wish I could show you guys a picture of this smile, because you might know what I'm talking about. Anyway, it's so, I don't know, it's so sad to see, because my friend, he's such an intelligent person, and he's spending his whole lifetime working on something that might not even be true, but in his own, like, way. I mean, I guess he's so, like, I can't explain it. Like, he's dedicated to his craft, I guess, to his religion, and he's a reverend now. So he's a reverend of a pretty big church, and he's doing all that he can to help people and do stuff like that. But when I talk to him, I can't talk to him. Like, he's too far gone. He's too far gone in his religion, and it's sad, because he was one of my best friends back in high school, and I really enjoyed talking to him, having, like, a lot of discussions and stuff like that. I don't know how to explain, like, this smile. It's just the smile of straight ignorance. And people say, like, ignorance is bliss. I don't see any bliss. I don't see any bliss to his ignorance at all. Maybe there is, but on another note, I do remember when I was religious, I felt like I had more, not confidence, but I had more conviction in what I was doing all the time. I always had conviction about doing certain things, and I think it was just because of the community aspect. But anyway, let's get back to the history part of the world. There are so many universes out there, and it's hard to think that none of them have actually come down and came out to visit us. And I know that there's an equation for warp speed, which is, like, when you're traveling at the speed of light, life happens life happens like a certain amount of time. I don't remember what the exact equation is for traveling at the speed of light. But when you're traveling at the speed of light, you actually, time slows down for you because you're traveling at the same rate of time. So time slows down, but but for you, you're on a scale of time where you don't understand. You won't be able to follow along because, I mean, your body won't be able to follow along. In fact, your body's traveling so fast that all that happens is that you are experiencing time on the speed of light scale, which means that your interpretation of time is at a totally different rate, and you don't know it. You're not going to know it because it's going to be happening without your knowledge. You're just like on a totally different sphere or whatever. But your body adapts to that, and it doesn't need to adapt to it because, you know, it just happens. It's just your body's getting pulled along this speed, and you're just going to you're just going to have to, you know, work it out. And I was thinking about this, and there's different scales of reality for everything. So if the earth had a consciousness, which we don't know if it does or not, but if it did have a consciousness, like, what scale is it living on? Is it living on an earth scale, or is it living on a gigantic, like, in its own time zone or something? But all I know is that when you're a fly, and you probably, like, a fruit fly lives only one day, right? So a fruit fly, I'm sure during a fruit fly's life, like, that fruit fly is living, it probably thinks that it's living so long. Get out of the rain. But it probably feels like the time it's lived has been a really long time, but it probably hasn't. It's just in human times it's only a day, but on its time and for its understanding of time and the scale of time, it's living like an entire lifetime, which is a really long time. For us, it seems like it's not. You know, when you think about 20 years, it's not really that long of a time, but a lot of you guys haven't even lived 20 years, and you already think that, you know, you've lived a lot. And then later on in life, you start to realize, like, 20 years is nothing. And you only get maybe 4 of those, which is, you know, it's a fair amount of time to live. In the future, obviously, we're going to advance in the whole medical field, and we'll be able to clone stuff, and we'll be able to become basically become immortal. So probably not completely immortal, but pretty close to being immortal, because we'll be able to clone ourselves, and we'll be able to clone parts of our human. We'll be able to clone organs and stuff that we need, and we won't have to die as many times, and there'll probably be a lot more restrictions on on birth and all that. But yeah, I don't know what I should do with this. Should probably put like some roofing here. I mean, some I don't know what these are called. Should I just do 4 there? That's kind of cool. Let's look at see what it does when I do this. I don't know if this is actually symmetrical. Yeah. That's cool. But people are probably hating this because actually, is it better like this? Yeah, there we go. So, like, the whole thing about humans is, the question that got me was, how many times has a civilization like the human civilization come around on Earth's lifetime? Because we don't know. We know how we can carbon date, the age of the Earth, but we don't really know for sure. We can't really tell that, like the Earth was so and so long, and I mean, we can guess about a lot of stuff, but we can't really know for sure. So I always wonder, like, how old is the Earth, and how old is how long has human beings been around in comparison to the scale of the Earth? I don't know. And I don't feel it's not my job to look into it, and I'm just some guy playing Minecraft who's thinking about this stuff. But it's fun to think about, because you think about all the stuff that you've been taught, and you say, you start to question it, which is the thing that for me was the thing that got me away from my own ignorance. I stopped having that smile that my friend has. And it's just crazy that he still has that smile, like that same. And I wish I could explain to you guys what I'm talking about, because the smile, if you guys know what I'm talking about, let me know in the comments if you guys know what that smile is. Cuz it's like it's like they're smiling at you because they think that you're the crazy one, when they believe in some really ridiculous stuff. And especially when you read the Bible, I've read the Bible plenty of times to know that it's pretty crazy. I mean, some of the stories in there in the Bible, to me, I tried to make sense of it. I tried to be fair, and I tried, because my dad is religious, and I tried to be really fair with when I read the Bible, for the because actually when I wasn't religious, or when I was religious, I didn't even read the Bible. When I wasn't religious, then I read the Bible, and I was like, wow, no wonder I didn't read this. This is crazy. But I feel sorry for people who will never get out of that method of thinking, because there's so much they're missing out on in life. Anyway, so how did we come to be and all this? And I always hear this, if we evolved from apes, then why are apes still around today? I've heard my friends say that, and I was like, I don't think you understand what it was. Just like because Richard Dawkins runs into this question all the time, and in all of his videos, people ask the same question. And it's not, and to me, it's kind of crazy, but I didn't realize this, but the real modern apes are actually have evolved. They're evolved animals. They're not, evolved. They're evolved themselves. We just evolved alongside them. We evolved alongside those same monkeys and apes that we see today. And they are just as evolved as we are. We are not, it's not the fact that they're dumb or anything. It's just the fact that they are as evolved as we are. They are modern animals. And, these people that don't understand this idea, they think that we evolved from modern apes and modern chimps. That's not the case. The case is we evolved alongside these animals, and we ourselves are animals. And since we evolved alongside them, obviously they're going to adapt to their own environments. We have our own environments. They have their own environments to adapt to. The world is a vampire. So, we're not gonna. And let's see, what is wrong with this? Is it like totally not symmetrical? Oh, that's kind of symmetrical. But yeah, so we evolved on our own as our own species, and they evolved as their own species. Wait, why didn't I put one in? Oh wait, okay, there's two of them here. Okay. What should I do here? I should probably make this like expand outward this way. Could be like a pretty big hall. And then expand this all the way this way, all the way this way. And all the way around this way. Okay. Let's do that. Man, I really should do this in World Edit, because this guy could do this in like 5 minutes. Versus like building this massive thing. I don't know if I should build in World Edit or not. But anyway, I would like to one day go out to, visit the world and see what Israel and all those places actually are like, because my interpretation of them is probably totally different than what is actually there. I love, the pictures of like their architecture. That's why I love cathedrals. I love cathedrals so much because of the architecture and just the way it looks, just like so epic. And that was always like something that stuck in my mind, was how epic those structures were. And like people always say, like one day, I don't know, I wonder how many things are going to be around. I wonder how many things that we see today are going to be around in the future, like way in the future, and how people are going to interpret what we've done. I don't know. Because obviously, like, some of what, we think of the people in the past has been skewed so bad that we don't really even understand. And there's no one around from that time period to actually tell us like what actually happened. Maybe there was aliens, maybe there was crazy stuff like that happening, who knows. And let's make this on this side too. Let's make sure this is symmetrical though. I really should be building this in World Edit, cause then I could just copy paste. Yeah. Oh wait, I can just do this. Okay. So from here, let's see, one right here. And I'm sorry about not talking as much, but I think you guys know what I'm talking about as far as like the whole theory of behind humans and behind ourselves. I wonder also, I know that you can go on the internet, you can find all kinds of stuff, but you can't really know about stuff unless you go out and you actually go out into the field and check out things for yourselves. Because on the internet you can pretty much say whatever you want to say, and you can come up with all kinds of theories. On the same note, like, I start to think, like, who cares? Like, who really cares? If for me, the only reason I cared at one point in time was because I was religious, and it was my whole world perspective. And now I'm starting to believe more in the present moment versus just thinking about, what happened in my past, or what happened in a past that I was never in control of. So I'm starting to think like, man, like, what if I stopped thinking about things in that perspective, and I just start focusing on this present moment now, what will happen? Well, what seems to happen is that I actually appreciate life a lot more, because I'm not focused on what everyone else is telling me to think. I'm just focusing on what I believe I should think. And to me, it's more relieving to find things out for myself, just to be more aware of my surroundings in general. I think that the more I can become aware of my own self, the more I can actually, the more things I can do, and the more efficient I can be. And I've recently given up a lot of addictions that I've had, and I'm feeling so good now. I mean, I've never felt better, and I've never felt more clear-headed than I have in a long time. I remember when I was a kid, I remember we used to go on these field trips, and man, it was so exciting to go on a field trip. I don't know if they take I know you guys probably take field trips when you were a kid, but back in my day, we didn't have TV, we didn't have the internet, we didn't know what was happening. We couldn't get on our phones and be like, oh, this is going to be an attraction over here. We were going, and they said it was going to be exciting, so we believed them. We believed that it was going to be exciting, especially going to stuff like the zoo and going to, different places, going to I think like we went to a lot of we went to laser tag once. It was crazy, and I was having so much fun. We went to go get pizza and all these awesome things, and it was just such a blast. Nowadays, I think like when a kid goes on I imagine that a kid, whenever they go on field trips, they're just like, oh, let me check on my phone, let's see this is lame, and there's no surprise factor for them. I remember when I went to the first Natural History Museum. Oh man, it blew my mind seeing dinosaurs and seeing all these cool things. And I asked my dad, my dad was a pastor, right? So I'm like, hey Dad, what about these dinosaurs? Why are these, dinosaurs not mentioned in the Bible? And my dad's like, they are mentioned. He would make up these stories, and it was funny. And then I even got into the idea of man, I gotta figure out a way to make all this Bible stuff work within the Bible, and I've got to make my perspective of life work within this. I only have this little small area to work with, and if it doesn't work in this Bible thing, then then my whole perspective is wrong, and I don't want to be wrong. And if I start to question this whole Bible thing, then I'm going to go to hell no matter what. I mean, it's going to be crazy, and then I would freak out, and I would not want to go to hell. I would not even want to think about it, because I was thinking man, imagine if imagine if God hears me thinking about this stuff. I'm gonna go to hell. I mean, I better think about the right things. And it was always hiding me from thinking about things and being reasonable. And then eventually I became I found a way around. I found my own way around the whole religious thing. And when I was religious, I found a way that I could mask a lot of this stuff out. And I was just like, okay, so we don't really know what's going on out there. We don't really know what's we can't tell if the Bible is wrong or not, because we weren't around in those times. And I don't even know how to explain it. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. I'm just sort of rambling at this point. But okay, so let's get back on point. So field trips were so exciting, and they were eye-opening to me. I think that's how you stimulate someone with that smile I was talking about earlier. You have to give them a reason. You have to hype them up for something, for some sort of reason that kind of like how you treat a dog. When the dog when you have an unruly dog and you want him to go somewhere, right? You want your dog to go out with you to the park so he can, or maybe you want him to go outside so he can use the restroom outside and he won't pee in your apartment. So you've got to like give him a treat or something. You have to entice him, stimulate the brain of this animal in order for it to work with you. And I'm thinking like maybe that's how you reach some of these people who have that smile. But I don't care. Like if they want to stay ignorant, if it keeps them away, if it keeps them out of doing crime, then sure, I guess it's okay. If their only focus is on, is going to be on living this, this huge lie, then yeah, that's fine. But on the same note, I don't know how to explain like how much better life is when you open your eyes and when you accept things for what they are. You accept the world for what it is versus masking it and trying to hide behind, or trying to hide under the arms of some, I guess, well, the idea for me and the thing that was most comforting about Christianity for me was the fact that you could take all of the burdens and all of the fear of living in an unknown world and place it on the back of a single entity that you believed was living within your heart. And there was a community of people, and that was also another thing, was the community of people that were around that were there to encourage you and were there to tell you that, hey, like, everything's going to be all right, and, all these comforting words and stuff like that. And now I think, like, I enjoy the fact that we don't know what we're doing. I enjoy the fact that we don't know anything. I enjoy the fact that I can say I don't know and be happy, like I enjoy that fact because no one knows what's going on. You don't know what's happening to yourself even. We don't know. The only thing we can do is develop tools to eventually know. And those tools are already being developed by, everybody. The world evolves, and with our body and with our body's evolution comes the evolution of our minds, and then our minds grow stronger, and then we become collectively more intelligent with more technology. And part of that is bad because if our human instincts can't keep up, with technology, then we'll eventually kill ourselves. Like if we're still warring in 100 or more years or whatever, and we haven't come to an agreement, I doubt that we'll ever have interaction with aliens, because I'm pretty sure there is a coalition out there of aliens that only deal with aliens that have evolved to a certain point. And when I say aliens, I'm counting us. We are aliens. We're aliens to them. So if they have evolved to a certain point, they understand that there is a point where intelligent beings either become modern, and in their terms modern, which is not warring at each other, and they found a way to coincide, and they found a way to deal with all of their issues without using weapons. Then yeah, like they're gonna probably reach out to them, because the universe is a lonely place. It's not a lonely place. It's just the universe is there's only so much in the universe, and you need to share it. The universe is infinite, but if you can find like a few other intelligent beings to be around and learn from, obviously it's a good thing. It's a good thing for them. So it would be awesome for them, and also for us, because we'd be able to talk to them, and it would be awesome. But on the same note, I don't know how long it's gonna. I know in our time, and me and you, the listener, in our time, it's not gonna happen. But you never know, like maybe aliens will come down and just so they can help us along. Maybe they're going to come down and maybe they're another society that hasn't evolved, and instead they're in a warring state and they're wanting resources and they're going to take us over. That's another possibility. Maybe they'll take us over and they'll destroy us before we can destroy ourselves. Who knows? That's another possibility. I know, like Stephen Hawking said that if there were ever aliens to come down, they would straight up destroy us. That would be the only interaction we'd have ever with aliens, is they'd come down to either enslave us or they'd just destroy us. Either way. Either way, it's bad news for us if aliens ever come. But we shouldn't be afraid of them. We shouldn't be totally afraid of them. We should actually be we should be interested in the fact that we're not the only people out there. We're not the only civilization out there, and there has to be millions and billions. There has to be infinite amounts of civilizations out there that are just either they're just growing or they're way beyond us. There has to be like some civilization out there that is billions of years old, that has technology that we can't even. They probably create universes if they wanted to. They probably create, like they're probably actually immortal. I remember seeing that or Men in Black, and there's the guys who are playing marbles, and they're playing marbles with the universe. I mean, that to me is not that far-fetched. What if we are just, inside a huge marble and some massive thing is flicking us around? We wouldn't know, because they live on a scale that we can never understand. We could never understand them. And who's to say that aliens have to live in 3 dimensions? What if an alien is in four or five, so whatever dimensions? I know like every dimension's happening now, but what I'm saying is, like, what if they're aware of like a different dimension that we can't even fathom? I was watching this video by these guys, the super slow-mo guys or whatever, and I was thinking to myself, because they showed us this bubble that drops, and then it drops into water, and then from the water springs another like tiny bubble that's about half its size or whatever, and then it drops down again, and then it pops back up, and it's even smaller and then smaller, and then it just gets exponentially smaller until eventually there's no more movement. And I'm just thinking, like, how many times did that happen in a scale that we can't even see? Like, how small did it get? Could it ever zero out? Or did it happen, or did so many repetitions happen that we didn't know about, that happened like beyond our scope of reality? Maybe in that moment, in that brief moment where that drop hit the water, a million, or like an infinite amount of those little droplets happen and split into scales that we never, not that we can never, but that we weren't aware of. And it was really interesting for me when I thought about that. I was like, man, like, I bet that there was an infinite amount of times that thing hopped, and we just don't have the tools to actually see it hop in that many times, and we would never be able to see it because we'll never be able to be on that scale, at least not in our time. And I'd like to really get to know a lot of things, but on the same note, like I said, I'm gonna be more and more getting into the present moment. And for me, getting into the present moment is just accepting things as they are and moving beyond that. Just accepting things as they are and just being present, just being here. To me, like, that's all you need to do in life, is just to be present. just to be there, conscious, and enjoy the ride, because that's all you got. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do in life, is just to enjoy, the experience of life, because life is just literally life is just like going to the roller coasters, going on a field trip. You don't know what you're going to do. You can't it's like going on a field trip, except you can't get on your phone and see all the attractions first because you never know. So life is literally like one of those field trips like I was talking about back when I was a kid. And I think that some people take it for granted. I definitely took it for granted. That's why I started doing all the things that I was doing. Not that I was like smoking bath salts or anything, but I was I was wasting away a lot of my potential. And there was a guy who came in, there was a very, I call him like a guardian angel almost, because if it wasn't for him, I would have never evolved. My thought process would have, I was at a point where I was going to give up on all the stuff that I was doing at that time. I was just going to go off and work in the forest or something. That actually was my plan. Like, I was going to go work in forestry, and just be outdoors all the time. And that just because I didn't have faith in my abilities, and this person had faith in me, faith enough to to pretty much pull me out of my rut and show me there's a different way to do things. And it was crazy. And I can't thank this person enough. Like, there's nothing I could, there's the only thing I could do for him is to show him that him believing in me was worth it. So that's my goal, at least for now, is to show him that him believing in my abilities was well worth the effort. I think I'll end the Minecraft episode on that. I got some stuff down. I didn't really fill in the roof or anything. I think this is turning out pretty sweet. I fixed the symmetry of this, I guess. Probably add some glass on this other side next time and finish out some more stuff. But I appreciate you guys for listening, and I'll definitely get some more Minecraft videos for you guys out. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this episode, leave a like and a favorite. I hope you guys have an epic day or epic night wherever you are. See you guys.